offdanet is a system for getting material from the teacher's computer onto bring your own devices, tablets, iPads, smartphones, computers, laptops, basically any device that we can bring into the classroom that has a Wi-Fi connection. Our idea is to try and connect to the teacher's computer so that the teacher's material, PDFs, PowerPoints, teaching resources that they've got can be passed over to the devices that students are able to use in the classroom. Now, to be able to do this, we need to connect through Wi-Fi, and we have some videos that will look specifically at that, and we also have to have a web page running on our teacher's computer. So on my computer here, I've got a web page. This is open, and you can see that there is no web page actually available. That's because I have yet to start running my web service. But I am actually off the internet. I have no internet connection at all at the moment. I'm going to run this freeware program called USB Web Server. I've got a link for that, and we will have a configuration video to look at how we can get that one working. So we can see now it has started up Apache and MySQL, and that is now running the web service. The web service is a series of pages that I've created. They're sitting in a template on my computer. We'll look at that template. I'll give you that template because it's a drag and drop system. We can drag and drop the material that we want into that template, and then it will present itself on our computer. So over here on my page, I'm now going to type in the IP address that I need for my computer. So this is the IP address that I'm actually running at the moment, and that brings up my offdanet web service. This IP address is actually, you can see, paralleled down here. I've got my IP address showing as 192.168.0.50. There's a second IP address, and that's the IP address of the wireless built into my computer. This first one is the one that's being supplied by the access point, the router that I'm using to provide access to the rest of the devices. Now, those devices are connected through the wireless system on the router, and they're getting their own independent IP addresses, but this particular IP address is the address of this computer that is hosting the whole service. So I can put in either of those two addresses, but I'm going to use the one that the router has provided. Okay, so here is the web page that I'm providing to the students, and that is paralleled on the devices that the students have got. So if they click on button 1, then they'll see the material that I see when I click on button 1. So that's getting us going there. So USB Web Server provides the basis for what we're doing. Now, the next thing we really need to do is to have a look at some of the material that's available for students, and then we'll go in each of the different lessons and have a look at how we create the material we're going to put here, how we use the template, and how we work with the web server and the hardware software sides of things. So just to begin with, let's have a look and see what's in offdanet. Now, I'm going to bring up just another page here. We'll run Firefox at the same time. I've set it so that the default home page is set to this IP address, and that's what we would do on the student devices too. Once they've been set up to use our system, they can have this as a favorite or their home page, so when they start it up, they'll come straight to the teacher's computer's home page. So let's click on button 1 here. Now, button 1 is just actually a PowerPoint that has been converted to run as an HTML5 web page. So you can see it's called index 1 up here. I can click in it and move through. It's just a standard presentation style PowerPoint. We can have back buttons on it. We get some controls down here, and you can see this has got an iSpring logo here and here. That is because the program that I've used, a free program from iSpring, is what's been used to convert the material from a PowerPoint, our standard PowerPoint, into an HTML5 page that can be presented through to our student devices. Let's have a look at another one. We'll use the Firefox one. And this is a good demonstration of how we're able to use PowerPoint that has branching capabilities. So each of these will take me to a different page. I can go straight to my last page there, or I can come back, come to this page, and then I can move forward in a linear way but it's a branching PowerPoint, so I'm able to move through. I can use these controls as well down the bottom. So branching PowerPoints, which are fantastic for providing differentiated learning opportunities to students, are available as well. I put a back button here to take me back out, but we could always use the browser button to take us back out as well. Now there's a variety of different material that we can be providing to the students. Readings is one thing that we often want to give to students, and if we click in here we'll find we come through to a PDF. It's just connecting up there for the moment. We'll try it on this one as well. See which one comes through first. They both come through. Here we go. Now this is a reading, and what we've got in here is a PDF that has been converted to an HTML page. It's run within this extra little piece here. This one here, which was basically the same thing, is not using this converter that's sitting around the outside to host it. So depending on how your devices are going to work with and what browser you're using, you have to provide slightly different configurations. One thing though, because we're going on to tablets and other small devices which may not have built-in PDF capability, we will sometimes need to provide it either as a download, so it then gets opened by a separate application, or we're going to try and host our material within a different vehicle. Let's move back and just have a look at some of the other things that we can do with our devices that we've got. We've got devices that, well, they can run video and they can run sound. Sound, of course, is a very useful one. So here I've got a podcast.
A podcast is very much like a radio broadcast. It's an audio file that's been recorded onto your computer.
We'll go back, and this second podcast is also me talking, sorry. What you as a teacher are going to do, you're going to be sitting there recording material, or get the students to record material that you'll want to play or let them listen to. So here I am telling a story.
Dog Talk by Sue Macaulay. Going to work? Can I come too?
So you can prepare material that you can use for the students as listening, oral material. They can prepare material as well. Very simple. Use Audacity, a freeware program. We'll have a look at how to prepare some of that. Now, we've got some other areas here which I'm going to go into soon, but just because we're talking about video, let's go into my experimental area here. Video is a slight problem when we're working with Wi-Fi because it is quite bandwidth intensive, but it is possible to run video. We'll have a look at this one here, which shows us how to actually make a podcast. So this is an Audacity version of a podcast. We'll click on play.
We're going to edit a sound file with Audacity.
We have a description, a tutorial on how to do something. It's been recorded as a video and can be played through the system. So these can be presented to the students' devices. They can listen to them with headphones, preferably, so you don't disturb the rest of the class, as a group activity, as an individual activity, or of course you could just be hosting them on your projector, but you can then send students away to do some individualized work because they've got access to the material that was on your computer, but is also being distributed to the devices that they've got. Just coming back out of that area there, we'll have a look at these other features that we've got. We've got a QR code sitting here. This QR code is designed to be able to let you provide the IP address that we're working with to the students. I'm just going to come to a slightly larger version here. On the side here, an audience response system, so that on a student device, if we're wanting to get some feedback so that they could all hold up their devices and show you whether they all think it's true, they click true. You can see, looking around, who's clicked true, who's clicked false. It's just a color code easy system that you can use as a very, very simple mechanical audience feedback unit. Another one that I like to work with is getting the students to do some of their own writing. So we can, usually with a web page, we find that we can't do any typing. If I click in here, I can't do any typing, but this page is called Content Editable, and what that means is that we can write into our page. So we can have the students writing something for us, and the material is not saved. It's only there for you to be able to look at, or for them to be able to show you. And then at the end of that session, it's going to be lost. So if I go back, the content's not saved. If I come back in here, it's disappeared completely. So it's not being shared anywhere. It's just a way of getting some quick notes written down that they can share with each other or other people. The only way you could really save this material would be with a screen capture, which is possible to do, but it's designed for just some quick typing where you're wanting to get a note put down that you might then show to other people. Okay, so that's just a simple one that's sitting there. One of the other things that we really like to do with students, though, is to be able to do some typing, and for us to type on our computer and then for it to turn up on the student's computer. That's something that we'll look at with live text and with live image. We'll come back to those in the next video. It involves me setting up a second screen for you to be able to see what's going on. But let's have a look at some of these other buttons. These buttons are generic because we're going to drag and drop material into each of the button depending on the lesson that we're working with, and we don't want to have to keep relabeling and changing our page. This is designed to be a week by week, day by day, or a year by year system where we can just drag and drop things in, and we'll tell the students, oh, I want you to go to button 12, the pink button, today. Here I've got a close activity. This is an individualized activity where the students are going to type in the answer that they want. There's multiple choice and true-false questions. This kind of activity we can build from freeware programs, and it will generate an answer for us. It will record the responses that they've got and give them a score. Again, it's only kept on that particular device. It's not available to us as the teacher, but we could ask them to show us what sort of result they've got. So that's quite good, but there are times when we want to go just a little bit further, and in this particular case it's asking me for my name, so I'll put that in. This is a set of questions that is going to record my answers, and it will actually feed them back to the teacher's computer. So we'll have a look at how we can work with that one. So it's multiple choice. It's asking me which of these is a quadratic equation. We'll move on, and at the end of answering all these questions, it tells me that there's some more to be answered. It's showing me I've got 29 minutes to work on. I can retire, but it's recorded my name and it's recording each of those responses. We'll come in a little bit more detail and we'll have a look at how that one actually works. In button 10 here, I've got another PowerPoint, but this one's just moving through as an automatic presentation. So it's an autoplay version of a PowerPoint, converted. We can convert these in a number of different ways. Now, instead of using PDFs, it's actually probably better to work straight out of a Word document. And from a Word document, you can bring your material into HTML just by saving it as an HTML document. We're going to display it in HTML5. So here I've got a Word document that's just been presented very simply, saved as a HTML document and drag and dropped into our file template. So that's a really useful one to be able to be using. Here's another example of a PDF just been placed within this browser to be able to let me move backwards and forwards through it. Good where we've got complicated graphics that we're wanting to work with. Getting out of this one requires me to go all the way backwards, unfortunately. So we'll eventually get out, there we go, and we'll have a look at this one here. Again, this is a PDF. Now, where we're using PowerPoints and convert them with something like iSpring, we can have sound and things included. So this is a simple teaching program for very young children. Find the bike, they click on the bike. A bit of audience response. If they get it wrong, we can have other sound effects or nothing happening until they click on the correct answer. So those kind of things can be, oops, we're going to exit from that, so we'll just cancel there because we want to retire, that's what we want there. Sure, I want to retire. Yes, I do. And it's giving me my results and things there. So each of these videos and lessons that we've got, we'll go through and we'll look at how we create PowerPoints such as this, how we convert them, how we run it as a system for students to be able to use. Hope you'll join me with that, and let's get offdanet into the classroom.